Deanna Burdett, Rick Harrison's ex-wife, has finally spoken out after years of silence to share shocking details about the man who was once famous in the pawnbroking world. Not only has her recent statement shocked people, it has also shown the bad side of Rick's life and work. A lot of people were shocked when she told them his secrets, which made them wonder about the image he has built up for so long. Deanna Burdett, the ex-wife of Rick Harrison, a famous face on Pawn Stars and owner of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas, has finally spoken out after years of silence. She is involved in a tense legal fight that has shook the country. In February 2025, Rick's federal hearing began in a courthouse in Las Vegas. A lot of people were there. The man who used to be a happy and smart businessman on TV is now being charged with 3 major crimes: tax evasion, theft, illegally trafficking antiques, and truck smuggling. Laura Martinez, the prosecutor, started her case with strong reasons. She said that Rick used his shop to hide doing illegal things. Martinez showed proof that Rick had earned $2.7 million in deals with the IRS that were not reported from 2018 to 2023. She also showed a package of what she thought was stolen Mayan pottery from the 9th century that Rick had bought in 2022 through a sketchy middleman. Encrypted emails between Rick and a European dealer about bringing in bronze figures from the 17th century without permission added to the evidence of smuggling. Martinez told Rick he was wrong for not only being a real antiques dealer but also abusing his power to do bad things. To be even more clear, the IRS showed that Rick had moved $1.5 million to an account in the Cayman Islands so that he wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Archaeologist Dr. Emily Torres said in court that the pottery may have been taken from the Yucatan without permission, which is against the UNESCO convention. When the prosecutor showed recovered emails, things got worse. From Rick's computer showed that he had paid $200,000 for a shipment of bronze statues without having the proper papers. The evidence of Deanna Burdett made the case even more shocking, but that wasn't all. Mike Larson, who used to work at Gold and Silver Pawn Acquisitions, also spoke in court and talked about things that happened more than 6 years ago. He remembered a time when Rick told him not to record a big deal worth more than $250,000 on the books. Instead, Rick told him to pay in cash to avoid drawing the attention of the IRS. Mike said he didn't understand, but he didn't say anything because he knew it was his boss's straight order. He said that big deals, especially ones that didn't need papers, were often done without being recorded. Mike's story showed that Rick isn't being honest about his work. Rick's defense, led by well-known lawyer James Whitaker, has strongly denied the charges. Whitaker has said that the underreported income was due to a mistake in accounting and not on purpose to avoid paying taxes. He has also said that the IRS has checked the store several times and has not found any major problems. When it comes to the Mayan ceramics, he says they were properly bought from a Mexican collector with receipts, though he does admit that there may have been a mistake in the paperwork. Whitaker said that the emails about smuggling were fake and that Rick was to blame for getting into the computers in 2021. He has also said that Mike Larson is not trustworthy because he has a grudge against Rick and was fired for theft. This hearing is more than just a court case. It shows the bad side of Rick Harrison's image that he has been building up for a long time. Little by little, the truth is coming out, and these shocking lies will continue to get people's attention. When Rick took the stand on the 10th day of the trial, it was over. He was calm, but it was clear that he was upset. He rejected all the accusations and insisted that his gold and silver pawn shop followed all the rules. Rick said that the money that was sent overseas was for real estate investments that were legal, and that the antiques were bought through reliable dealers. "I don't know anything about them. Someone is trying to frame me," he said right away when asked about the private emails. Many people in the courtroom were suspicious, though, because he didn't want to answer about the deals that weren't recorded. At the end of his statement, Rick talked about how sad it was that he had lost his son Adam in 2024 and said that he was not guilty of a crime. However, that statement kept making people think of a lot of problems. Things looked like they were over when, on day 15, a shocking witness spoke out. The ex-wife of Rick, Deanna Burdett. The prosecutor called her in and she quickly set the courtroom on fire by telling shocking secrets about Rick and why they were divorcing. During their marriage, Deanna said she saw strange packages of antiques coming into the pawn shop through the back door at night, without any official records being kept. One time in 2019, she found a secret safe in Rick's office that was full of papers related to international deals worth millions of dollars. Rick said it was his business, but I felt like something wasn't right. She told the story with a shudder. Deanna said she thought it was her duty to speak out for the truth, even though she said she had nothing to do with it. The FBI got a note from her in 2018 that was written by hand and listed antique sales that did not match the store's official records. Deanna also told Rick that he had joked about lying on his taxes by using shell companies in Panama. These comments were totally at odds with what Rick said, which led to a heated argument in court. Rick's lawyers, led by James Whitaker, tried to discredit Deanna by saying she was a revenge-seeking ex-wife. However, Deanna's evidence caused a huge stir. The prosecutor asked Deanna why she didn't speak up sooner. "I was afraid of retaliation, but I couldn't stay silent when I knew the truth," she said. What Deanna said next made the trial even more tense. She said that she had heard Rick and his son Corey Harrison fighting about a shipment of Swiss watches that got stuck in customs. To move it to the old warehouse, Rick told his guy, "Call your guy at the airport. Mark it as Utah inventory. Don't let the auditors know." Corey Harrison, Rick's only son who was still alive, was now called into the case. Deanna said that Corey not only knew about it but was also working to clear up where the goods came from, sometimes by handling large amounts of cash to keep his father safe. She said that she saw Rick give Corey some cash and tell him, "Take care of Reno, then bring me the fake receipts." Right away, an FBI lawyer asked that Corey Harrison be added to the case as both a witness and a possible suspect in money laundering and smuggling ancient artifacts. After meeting with the lawyers behind closed doors, Judge Albright chose to put off the trial for 10 days so that the FBI could gather more evidence and give the jury time to think about what they had learned. The media called it an earthquake because what began as a case of tax fraud turned into a case of moving drugs across the border involving 2 generations of the Harrison family. The people quickly split into 2 groups. Some Harrison fans said it was just a smear operation, while others said Deanna had finally shown them for what they really were. Deanna didn't want to be interviewed, but her lawyer put out a statement on her behalf. "I just want what's right to happen." How then will the probe go on? Will Corey Harrison be charged with anything else? People still have questions, and they can't wait for more music news to come out. He was born in Lexington, North Carolina in 1965 and grew up in a family of 4. In 1981, his family lost all of their money on a real estate investment, so they went to Las Vegas. This way. In the beginning, Rick worked at a small coin and antique store with his father, Richard Baldwin Harrison. The gold and silver sell shop, which used to be this store, became one of the most well-known places to sell gold and silver. The business started out easy. They bought cheap goods to sell to tourists. But Rick quickly showed that he was good at figuring out how much something was worth and spotting fakes. In 1989, the shop got its legal license to be a pawn shop, which marked the start of a new phase of growth. The shop became famous in Las Vegas because Rick was a smart businessman. In 2005, the gold and silver pawn shop was making more than $3 million a year. Rick reached the next big goal when he signed a deal with the History Channel in 2009. He had been thinking about making a TV show for years. Pawn Stars was made. This is a reality show with no plot that is about buying, selling, valuing, and bargaining for things. The popularity of Pawn Stars helped Rick not only build a huge business company, but also make a name for himself on TV and become an icon. Rick got a lot of advertising jobs for everything from razors to household items because of his fame. He also made guest spots on TV shows like The Middle and iCarly. With all of his success, though, Rick's personal life slowly faded away. Becky and Rick were married from 2011 to 2016. During these years, he had a lot of events with the media, book signings, and company promotions planned. Deanna never showed up on Pawn Stars, even though she was legally married to Rick. He never told her her own story or showed her anything about it. For Deanna, their life together wasn't like having a family. It was more like a play where Rick's job and image were the center of attention. She felt like she was just a supporting character in a bigger show where Rick made all the important decisions, like where to go on vacation and how to handle money. Deanna also said that Rick had done wrong by her financially and had relationships with other women he called business partners during their almost 20-year marriage. There were shady text messages, hotel receipts, and she even saw Rick leave a party with a strange woman just a few weeks after their wedding anniversary. When asked about it, Rick laughed and said, "Don't believe what you see. I'm a public figure now, but the public has seen it all." Deanna also said that Rick often missed Pawn Stars events without her. Before, she was promised to be a part of the show's backstage, but each invitation was turned down, and she was slowly pushed out. Deanna says that their real life together was nothing like what people saw on TV. Music things got worse when Rick told Deanna to stay away from the media, avoid photos, and avoid public events to protect her personal image. Deanna said that their family life turned into a series of lonely days. She had 3 kids from a previous marriage, but Rick never really connected with them. He wasn't mean, but he wasn't friendly either. He was just a distant gift giver on holidays, birthdays, and Thanksgivings. There were no special moments or meaningful involvement from Rick. Rick flatly refused to save the relationship, saying it was her problem, not his. Over time, they almost stopped talking to each other at all. Even though Deanna was living with a successful man, she felt like a stranger in her own home. When asked why she finally spoke out after so many years of silence, Deanna said she had kept quiet out of respect for Rick's privacy and, more importantly, to protect her children. When all the limits were crossed, she felt she could no longer keep quiet. "I think I deserve to speak out at least once to show the world what a fake person he is," she said. Many people agreed with Deanna that she was too patient and that she had the right to tell her story. Others disagreed and said she was wrong to speak out when Rick was faced with scandal and the pain of losing his freedom. But there is always darkness behind the fame. And in that darkness are some little-known facts about Rick Harrison's personal life. Rick married Kim Harrison when he was only 18. They were together through the hard times when he was trying to make it in Las Vegas, and Kim is the mother of his 2 sons, Corey and Adam Harrison. 3 years into the marriage, things fell apart, and Kim disappeared from public view, living a quiet life away from the spotlight. In 1986, Rick married Tracy Harrison, who would become his long-term partner. They had a son together, Jake Harrison, and Tracy helped run the pawn shop before it became a popular TV show. But as Rick's career took off, Tracy slowly disappeared. She stopped showing up at events and wasn't mentioned in interviews. She seemed to be forgotten in the success story she had helped build. People close to the couple said that Rick's constant absence caused the most trouble between them because he rarely went to important family events. When Tracy was a mother, a wife, and a support system, she had to do everything in silence, from holiday parties to parent-teacher conferences. When Rick and Tracy got divorced in 2011, they closed a chapter in their lives without any major property disputes. Their life together, like their marriage of more than 20 years, ended quietly. Early in 2012, Rick told everyone about his new relationship with Deanna Burdick, who had been through a lot and given him 3 daughters. They got married in July 2013 and were married for 7 years, but they never had any children together. Deanna said that their relationship never really felt like a family. Rick didn't talk about Deanna much in public, and even though they lived together, she was never mentioned, acknowledged, shared, or named. After his divorce from Deanna, Rick surprised everyone again by marrying Amanda Palmer in 2021. However, their marriage only lasted about 2 years, making it one of his shortest. Amanda Harrison never showed up with Rick at public events, and she was never seen in the media. Sources in Las Vegas said that the breakup was due to fundamental differences in lifestyle. Amanda wanted a peaceful and stable life, while Rick was always building his television empire and brand. Rick Harrison's life was also marked by deep tragedies. Richard Baldwin Harrison, Rick's father, died on June 25, 2018, after a long battle with Parkinson's disease. Old Man, co-founder of Gold and Silver Pawn Shop and Rick's mentor, was a big part of Rick's life. "He was a great dad and my best friend," Rick wrote on Instagram. "I will always miss him."
Rick was having a hard time after his father's death, especially since he was still running the shop while Pawn Stars was at its peak. He felt empty and sad without his father, and he often went to the shop late at night to talk with his father's favorite things. That was not the end of the tragedy though. On January 19, 2024, Adam Harrison, Rick's second son, died of a drug overdose. Adam chose to live a quiet life and stay out of the public eye. His relationship with Rick grew distant because of their different lifestyles, which made the news of Adam's death even more heartbreaking for Rick. Rick broke down in tears in an Instagram post, "My son Adam is gone forever. Be careful with drugs, they take the people you love." In an interview in 2024, he said, "I never thought I would lose Adam to drugs. I wish I had done more." Adam's death was both sad and a wake-up call about how dangerous drugs can be. Following Adam's death, Rick slowly changed. He seemed strong on the outside, but his grief and sadness over Adam's death took over. He started to speak out against drugs and became a spokesperson for anti-fentanyl campaigns. However, his strong words made people doubt the father-son relationship that Rick had described. Over the years, Rick rarely talked about Adam and never let him appear on the show Pawn Stars, even though Adam was his son. This silence made many people question whether or not they were really together. A former member of the Pawn Stars production team said, "We hardly ever heard Rick mention Adam." People were even more skeptical and divided after this, especially since Rick started to get more attention from the media after Adam's death. But Rick's bad luck wasn't over. In late 2025, a new lawsuit could bring his oldest son, Corey Harrison, into the fight. Corey, Rick's longtime co-star on Pawn Stars and an important part of the family shop, is charged with illegally dealing in antiques, which Rick may have arranged. After a string of tragedies, Rick Harrison has not only been through personal pain but also fierce legal battles. Rick's father, Richard Harrison, died, and now his son Adam has died from drug abuse. On top of that, Rick is in a legal battle with his oldest son, Corey. The family has been stuck in a web of serious problems that Rick has not been able to escape. Adam's death makes Rick very sad, but the tragedy does not end there. In December 2025, at the Clark County Courthouse, Rick Harrison, best known as the founder of Gold and Silver Pawn, is once again in the middle of a tense legal battle. His son Corey is facing serious charges of tax evasion, antiques trafficking, and illegal transactions. This time Rick is having an inner struggle like never before. During a raid on Rick's home in September 2025, the FBI found evidence including encrypted emails and important documents. This caused a big stir because the evidence included a USB drive with information about illegal currency transactions and possibly stolen artifacts. This made people think that both the father and the son were involved in criminal activity. To make matters worse, prosecutor Laura Martinez has been very harsh on Corey and says he helped his father commit crimes. Emails show that Rick tells his son how to avoid tax problems and hide shipments of stolen artifacts. Corey Harrison is not just a victim, he is a co-conspirator in his father's criminal empire. Martinez said in court. The public was outraged, which put Corey in a tough spot. But Corey's defense team, led by Rebecca Stein, made a counter-argument. Stein said that Corey did not start the actions, he was just doing what his father told him to do. She stressed that the emails and documents were not enough to show that Corey was involved in big decisions, he was just carrying them out. She also said that the community should understand and feel sorry for Corey because he had been through a lot of bad things recently, like the deaths of his grandfather and brother. During the trial, the tension was palpable, and Rick Harrison's pain became more clear as he talked about how he had seen his family fall apart and get into legal trouble. The man the public used to know as a strong man was no longer there. He had lost everything, and was sad as he watched his son face serious charges, while he himself was still dealing with the pain of his past. Music witnesses were very important in the trial, and gave testimony that caused a lot of controversy. Deanna Burdett, Rick's ex-wife, shocked the jury by saying that Corey knew about the hidden safe, and even helped Rick check the papers in 2019. She said that Corey told him, Dad knows best when Rick asked him to hide the deal. Sarah Mitchell, a store worker, said that Corey bought Mayan ceramics from a Mexican dealer in 2021 without asking for the right paperwork. However, Corey's close friend Austin Chumley Russell defended him by saying that Corey was constantly pushed by Rick and had no choice but to give in. The jury was left wondering whether Corey was a willing partner or a victim of blind loyalty. On day 10, Corey took the stand, looking thin and shaking. He said he knew about some of the deals that weren't recorded, but was just doing what his father told him to do. "I don't think it's wrong," he said. When asked about the emails, Corey stuttered and said, "I don't remember writing them." It was hard for him to talk about his brother Adam because his dad took care of everything. He was scared about losing his dad.